It's the Ryan Mercer Show with Richard Masso. Our hosts and their guests are here to talk about comics, movies, random topics, and everything in between. Now, here's your hosts, Ryan and Richard.
The Oppenheimer Projects.
What's going on, everybody? It is Monday. Richard and I are here, and we are ready to talk to you about many things and also the Many Saints of Newark. How are you doing, Richard?
Good. I hate to be that guy that corrects his co-host, but we've changed the date to Tuesday.
Oh goodness. Forgot about that part.
You're getting old, bud. How old are you today?
33.
How old were you yesterday?
Today. I was 32 yesterday.
32. That's great. Yeah, that's great. They say the memory's the first thing to go, and yeah, knowing days of the week is not for everybody.
No, it's definitely not for me either.
But happy birthday. Before we get started, I will say that in honor of your birthday, I don't know what I'm about to say is in honor of your birthday. We're going to ask you a lot of questions randomly throughout the day. So I'm going to, my whole news is going to be framed as questions to you. And then just randomly through our main topic, I'll just ask you random questions.
Okay.
I don't want that for you to be nervous about that. It's just what's going to happen.
No, we're going to make it.
So did you do anything? You do anything special today?
I actually managed to do a lot of things, but a lot of things that I had to do that were just kind of building up. Like Monica last night was like, all right, so just make a list of what you want to do today. I was like, it's my birthday and I'm going to be off. And she's like, no. She's like, I would love for that to be the case. She's like, but you have adult things to do. Like get my hair cut, pick up my contacts. I'm sure you saw from social media now that the Facebook outage of 2021 is over that I got a pedicure. Yes, I did get a pedicure and it was very relaxing. I went to the dry cleaner. So very adult things. Hung out with the kids and family, though. It was still like a nice day off. The energy was good. So still a beautiful day off.
Great. I'm glad to hear. So you mentioned, and this is just going to be my first topic. What did you do yesterday from around 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night? 11 in the morning to about 7 o'clock at night yesterday. Anything major happened to you?
I just was kind of like, you and I have close to 10 million viewers at this point.
Right, at this point,
down. You know what I mean? Like they're expecting us to go live. The stock market is relying on it. All these things. If you and I didn't go live, so I was a little bit worried. But then I was told that we actually don't have that many followers, and other things are more important. So tonight worked out just fine.
Yeah. So as Ryan did just mention, it was I wonder what I should do when you get the question that I asked wrong. Now I won't know if you're actually getting it wrong on purpose or I wish I had the soundboard. So for all of us who were very much affected yesterday for about 7 hours, Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp and something else, which I don't use WhatsApp, and the fourth thing, we're all down.
Yeah, I don't use WhatsApp either.
But Ryan through the entire thing was on top of it saying he thinks that it's a little weird that on 60 Minutes, about 12 hours earlier, a whistleblower came out, revealed her identity. What'd she do? She copied like 10,000 pages of stuff from Facebook. Which actually, my dad explained this to me today. So that
your dad's on it too.
The reason she wasn't arrested for that was because she turned it in. If she had just stolen it and made the copies, but that she did something with it. So, but again, a weird coincidence that there was, Facebook and Instagram that are pretty powerful and really don't have outages at all or very little.
But I think
we're out for that long.
Yeah, it was out for that long. And I think you and I are kind of the same where how do I say this? It's not that we rule things out, but we also don't want to put on our tinfoil hats, if that makes sense.
I don't want to put them on. Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's not possible. I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole.
I watch enough TV, though, to know that, sometimes Occam's razor, when you take away everything, but it's lupus. But it was not lupus this time. It was just a Facebook outage. I want to do a quick plug for anti-lupus, I guess. An anti-lupus plug.
Anti-lupus plug now. So tomorrow because a couple weeks ago I came in, I was hitting it hard. We got a lot of people to join the walk. Very excited about that. Got a lot of good donations to find a cause for lupus, or I'm sorry, find a cure for lupus. So tomorrow is October 6th, which means it's the 10-day countdown. I got to go at it hard again. We're walking for my wife and everybody else who suffers from this disease. And like Richard said, it's not a very known disease. It was a little bit of a punchline on House, right?
Yeah, it was a punchline on House. Yeah.
But yeah, so it can be very debilitating, very painful for the people that have it. So, and my wife has it. And listen, this is why I kiss the ground she walks on. One of the many reasons, but to wrestle our twins and the toddler on days that she's having a lupus flare up, like I would just be like, I can't do it. Juice pouches for everybody.
Yep.
So I give her credit for that.
Yeah, all the props in the world. I usually pride myself on our segues, but all right, thank you, Ryan. All right, now to the top of the box office. Way to go there, Monica. And hey, Venom, Let There Be Carnage was tops at the box office with 90 million this weekend. And as Ryan posted in the Oppenheimer Project's Facebook page, so much for superhero fatigue, or comic book movie fatigue. Whereas Venom, I was really surprised by that number. And I think maybe this is a little bit of more is opened up, or people are just going now, but Venom with a huge number, especially in a pandemic setting, 90 million. Addams Family in second place with 18 million. Shang-Chi in third with 6 million.
Drop off.
Yep. Our topic today, the Many Saints of Newark, fourth with 5 million. But again, it was available on HBO Max, so many of us took advantage of that. And holding in fifth place is Dear Evan Hansen. So, which we'll probably save that for when we do our Broadway night soon. All right.
Yes.
Okay. SNL was back this weekend. Guest host. Okay.
No, I was going to say, and not without controversy, because that's how they roll these days.
No, yeah, right. And here's the thing. I think every generation has their SNL, and we absolutely have to do an SNL day one of these days.
100%.
And get some guest hosts, because you're going to have a different group of favorites than I'm going to have, and people in between us age-wise, and, because for the most part, other than Kenan Thompson, people only stay on for about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
But SNL debuted this weekend, and the biggest news, which normally this comes out a couple weeks before, but it was really literally days. The final casts and the new additions were just released this week. Beck Bennett, who has been on for about 6 or 7 years, left, as well as Lauren Holt, but Lauren had only done a year with them. But Beck Bennett, was sad to say goodbye to him. They added 4 new cast members. None of them have really jumped out at me yet, and their names were way too hard for me to remember, so I'll give them props if they do. I know one took over being Joe Biden right away. But the news that came out afterwards was it was one of their worst premieres rating-wise in years. So much like many of these shows, SNL tends to really thrive when, like when it had Trump, when it had Alec Baldwin on as Trump, when it had a reason people wanted to kind of check it out. Nothing like that is quite happening. So, and I say it really snuck up on people. They really didn't. I don't think people knew it was coming on. So I think that's what's going to happen. Kim Kardashian's going to be on next week, I think. So we're going to definitely see a jump in the ratings for that. Hey, Ryan, did you hear what billionaire and his wife are getting divorced? I forgot I was supposed to ask you questions. Remember that? Like, so quick. Hey, Ryan, did you hear what billionaire and his wife are getting divorced?
Would I be too on point if I said the news was out of this world?
Yes, the news was. Yeah, that's it. You nailed it. Elon Musk and Grimes are getting divorced. All right. She is staying in the house for now, and they're raising their child XAEA minus XII together. But here's the shocker. I had no idea about this. Elon has 6 other children, and he's been married 3 other times.
Do you know what his real claim to fame was?
I mean, I'm assuming it was making Tesla, or the woman who his first wife is.
PayPal.
Oh, I did not know that. Sorry. Okay.
Yes. Actually, if you ever take it,
I did not know Elon Musk was PayPal. Okay,
if you ever get a chance, go on YouTube. There's a quick 60 minutes thing about him. he's younger, but he actually has less hair. So all the jokes are when you get so rich that your hair grows back.
Yeah,
you
your
know
hair
what I
grows
mean?
back.
You're like, so, yes. So he PayPal. It's like a video. He's buying a Ferrari or something. But that's his real claim to fame, I believe.
Pretty awesome. All right. Oh, let's ask another question here. What song was the theme song of your bar mitzvah? What song was the theme song of your bar mitzvah?
Is it Star Wars?
It was not Star Wars.
Ah.
Forever Young, Rod Stewart.
Oh yeah.
Is that okay? I'm not even quite sure how that goes. Alexa, play Forever Young by Rod Stewart.
It's the
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They play
it took me a
you
second.
hear it in the
Alexa,
supermarket.
stop.
You hear it
So
in
we
the
don't-
supermarket at the mall.
Yeah, no, that's it. Okay, I can see that. All right, good. All right. Do you know who Tommy Kirk is?
Not.
So
Old
it's
Yeller?
not
Old
not a
Yeller?
household name, but if you are any age over your 30 or older and you saw his face, you would know him. He was the star of Old Yeller, The Shaggy Dog, The Absent-Minded Professor.
Yeah, okay.
All of those Disney movies, Swiss Family Robinson, all those Disney movies from the mid 60s. He played. So Tommy Kirk, again, he just passed away at, let me do the math, 1941 to 2021. Old. He was old. So that was news. All right. Now it brings us to the Ryan story of the week, but I will ask it as a question. Hey, Ryan, who did you name your son Axe after?
It hurts me to even say it. Damian Lewis as Bobby Axelrod.
Okay. Why is he in the news this week?
Damian Lewis is going to leave Billions after this season, and I literally, when I saw the news, I fell to the ground and went, "No!" And Monica was like, "What's wrong?" And I just showed her my phone. I swear, she went, "No!" And then James went, because he didn't know what we were doing.
Right. And then Axe was like, "Wait, what? Like, well, you named me after this guy who's quitting now? What are you
He's
doing?
leaving. He's a quitter now. What the hell?
James gets named after an iconic superhero character, and I'm Bobby Axe Axelrod. So yeah. Now, was Damian Lewis also in the Claire Danes TV show?
Yes.
All right. Now, did he leave that show too, or his character was written off?
So his character was written off, and just to give you a little bit of a summary, Damon, you saw my note, and I'm sure you heard Damian Lewis, his wife, passed away in between actually the seasons, because the season got cut off at the knees because of COVID. Like,
because of COVID, right,
for a year, and she died in the interim, unfortunately. But the entire season, spoiler alert, the entire season he is not on, or I'm sorry, the entire second half of the season he is not on the set with anybody. He's in quarantine, right?
Okay.
So we're not sure if he came in, they were like, "Listen, we got to keep filming. We'll edit you in somehow, like a FaceTime character." But he was only in the very final episode, so something may have transpired there.
Oh my God, there's a question for me.
Oh man, from the Oppenheimer Projects.
Okay,
It's our
go for it.
16-year-old intern.
Oh yeah, please. Any questions we will take. Sure.
Go.
Oh sure. Of course, that's Helen McCrory. Helen McCrory, who unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
Okay, question. The next question, and I realize some of these questions aren't going to be that hard for you because what fictional space captain is finally heading to space in reality?
William Shatner.
William Shatner.
Or should
All
I have
right.
said it is William Shatner?
Sure. All right. So William Shatner. Again, probably again, it's hands down. It's not even a question. The most famous of the, the most famous, sci-fi captain out there. Honestly, I think the argument can be made. There is no major sci-fi. Again, there's going to be popular shows like Peaky Blinders and stuff like that, but I don't know if there's sci-fi is the way it is unless Star Trek is successful. Now the question is, at 91 years old, can Shatner actually handle? Again, I understand they're not going into space, so I don't know what the G's are like, but I imagine that is the that's gonna hurt. Being 91 going up into space has gotta hurt. So
He's gonna be in
I
bed
also,
for a few days.
I also gotta imagine the insurance is gonna be. But if Captain Kirk was to pass away, passing away in his bed is probably way less exciting than he was on a rocket ship. That's where he wanted to go.
For some reason, I just heard in my head. Doo, doo, doo.
Yeah, right. No, I think that's what they'd have to say.
That's what they would do when he dies.
Oppenheimer Project's intern. I guess Peaky Blinders as her last show. What is the right answer?
I think it's something British on Netflix.
It might be Peaky Blinders. I think you're right. While the intern's asking that, let's ask a question about the intern. What did you name Alexis's fish because it was not allowed to be a child's name?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Not
Damien.
Damien what specifically?
Damian Wayne.
Damian
the son
Wayne.
Of Bruce and Talia. I tried, and I even tried to use the excuse. There's two. Can't I get one? Nope.
Right. No.
Nope.
That's pretty cool. All right. I can lose my part in the news. I know this. What ended after 13 years, thanks to Judge Brenda Penny? What did she finally suspend?
Conservatorship.
The conservatorship. The conservatorship of who?
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears. It's finally over. I know this is a big for the Oppenheimer Project's big topic for you guys.
Yeah.
Again, listen. Give her a shot. She messes it up. People can step in and stuff like that, but
I've seen worse people get money.
Yeah, hopefully it leads to her being healthy and exactly. Okay. What is the current most watched show on Netflix? What is the current most watched show on Netflix?
The Squid Game.
Yeah, Squid Game. Squid Game is the most watched show that you've seen. If you haven't seen Squid Game or heard of it, you've probably seen the memes appearing. You see pictures of people like trying to cut shapes out of like cookies, different. It is a show where 400 and some people who all are living on the edge of they call the edge of life. Like they owe debts. They're just at their last wits. They're offered a share of $10 billion if they could play 6 simple children's games like red light, green light, tug of war. Except if they fail, they get killed. So it's a little creepy, and that's what people want. That's what makes the people happy. So it is in subtitles for those of us who can't stand to read, which is not me. But so that is happening. Hey, what heavy PJs did Ryan refuse to take off even during the summer? You remember this, Ryan? You refused to take those PJs off?
Batman. No regrets.
And
both my boys this year.
You're like, yep, keep them on. They're like, Monica was like, it's too hot. Nope, sorry, that's what we do. That's what us boys do. That's what we do. All right. What? I don't know how to say popular, but what popular, infamous R&B star finally had his day in court this week?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly.
And it's not his day.
Yeah, he did not have his day. He had his day in court. It did not go his way.
Right.
And he has been found guilty of some of the many, many counts against him. And that was like one. When he's done in Chicago, he's going to Los Angeles for counts. He's been accused of issues with underage girls, issues with kidnapping and holding people against their will. But still, it is amazing. And, we talk a lot about giving people the benefit of the doubt and all these things. Like, there are people that work for him who are like hand on a Bible. What he did with me and who he was with me, I cannot believe that's that person,
Right.
Except we have,
happens, right?
Yeah. So these people live a different life. Hey, quick question. What role did Ryan, I should say, almost play in his 6th grade musical?
Captain Von Trapp.
Captain Von Trapp. So how'd that go? How'd that performance as Captain Von Trapp go?
It didn't happen. I ended up being one of the kids in the large family, but I just nothing ever changed. I could never learn to study, and I could never study my lines. And I remember the teacher, when I told him that I couldn't do it, he was like, "Hey man, I give you credit for being like, thanks for not fucking this play up." You know what I mean?
Right. That's great. Yeah.
So I got to still be in it. My grandmother got to come see me, so she wasn't disappointed. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, Captain Von Trapp's a lot. That's a yeah.
I couldn't do it.
There's a lot going on there. Yeah. And you were like, you know what? I don't need this showing up that I played some Nazi sympathizer who marries a nun. I don't need that showing up on my digital. Yeah, one day.
And heaven forbid they ever found out that she goes on to be in a Disney film.
Yes,
after
right.
Hanging out with the Nazis.
With the Nazi sympathizer. So, what? Let's see if you get this right based on my sources. What would you consider your first job?
My mom might have said American Eagle, but Gennardi's.
She said Gennardi's. Gennardi's. It was very Gennardi's. Very cool. All right. So thinking back to your days working in New York City, do you know what major event is finally returning to New York after 2 years? This week, starting tomorrow for the next 5 days.
Well, I know the auto show got canceled, so is it Comic-Con?
Oktoberfest.
Yes, it's Comic-Con. New York Comic-Con is back. I think you have to be vaccinated. You have to show a negative result, but
you can be vaccinated, and I think you don't need the mask now, but you have to be vaccinated.
I think you have to be vaccinated. And you have to. Yeah, I don't know anything about masks, but yeah, because again, it created a bit of a controversy in the comic book world because people were like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'll pass. I don't want to get vaccinated, and so I won't show up." You know, but New York Comic Con for some people is. Did you ever work at American Eagle though? At least.
Yes.
By the way, I said American Eagle. Like, I'm not real sure if that's the name of something. So I do not buy clothes from anywhere that's doesn't end in an Oles or Art. Yeah. So New York Comic Con's this weekend. It's going to be for the comic book world the first major gathering like that. You know, and again, if you remember from being in New York, that's 100,000 people crammed together. So we will see how that goes and how effective that is. All right. We'll do one more question about Ryan, and then we'll get into the Many Saints of Newark. I like this one because it's kind of embarrassing. What was Ryan's Plenty of Fish profile picture? Do you remember what your Plenty of Fish? Did you find it? I was going to say. Do you remember what it was?
I thought it was of me and Alexis because I just because one I want to get that out of the way. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not interested in the guy with kids, don't click on this guy.
Can we change the entire podcast topic right now to just like dating and dating with a daughter, like dating? Yeah, I know. Realize it's more of a Tuesday. Well, we're on Tuesday, so it doesn't have to be Pop Culture Monday. But yeah, no. So I think they say that most people put up a picture like, or excuse me, let me say this differently. A big turnoff is like a guy holding a fish, or like, oh, I'm fishing or I'm hunting, you or me and my dog. All right. So according to my sources, it was a professional photo. So it was classy looking. You're in a suit and you're in front of these wine barrels.
Oh yeah. Wait.
Yes. You did have a picture of Alexis and you in there.
Yeah. Well. I was in France and we took that.
You were in France. Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's weird that my mom remembered that.
Your mom, we had another source.
Oh,
your mom was not keeping up on your Plenty of Fish.
I was wondering. I was like, did I tell her that, or like, I was like,
you know what? How about this? I'm going to make the executive call. Why don't we finish having our fun questions, and then we'll focus on Sopranos because I can't segue the questions. What famous gangster did you kill in 7th grade? But no, speaking of middle school, why was your mom on a first name basis with the middle school principal?
Because I was the best kid in the class and they wanted to brag about me.
Okay, that's right. That is right. Not okay.
Juvenile delinquent for sure.
Yes. Specifically, I've got graffiti in the bathroom. I mean, is that a real thing or were you framed?
Fist fighting.
Fist fighting. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people specialize in one thing. You were like, no, I can be a delinquent in many areas.
And it went on to be beneficial in my career. I can work front desk. I can work bank. Right. You know what I mean? So multitasking.
Yeah. Right. And you probably work well with difficult people too. You're probably like, I've been you. I can do this.
Exactly. It's like, don't. Can't.
What Christmas gift did your mom have to travel all over to find for you every year? And it was something you got every year.
Tickle me Elmo.
Shanna gets Tickle Me Elmo. No,
I heard
that was a one-time thing, Shanna.
I actually don't know. I'm curious now.
She would have to go to gas stations every December.
Oh, for the Hess truck.
Yes, for the Hess trucks, yes. And staying in the toy theme, what toy store in New York City did you have to beg to go to after seeing Big?
Oh, FAO Schwartz.
FAO Schwartz.
R.I.P.
Yep, they did it. Boom, boom, boom. All right, this I think is our last question. And again, we will take questions from our from our audience if they have any more questions. But what was the first concert your parents took you to see?
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. And how old were you?
Oh man, 4, 5, something.
Oh yeah,
ridiculous.
5 years old. Do you remember complaining about the smell in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that smell? Do you recall?
Marijuana.
It was probably marijuana. So 5-year-old Ryan, you were like, all right.
We'll be friends one day. That's not today.
What does he close with? Does he close with Empire State of Mind? What does Billy Joel close with at that concert? Or did you? I was going to say, did you stay away for the whole concert?
No, we didn't make the whole thing. I remember that.
Yeah. So we took Kaya to Bon Jovi when she was 6, going on 7, and and she remembers somebody getting drunk next, throwing up behind us, people fist fighting. She doesn't remember much of the music, but I do remember her just giving up. She made it through Daughtry, opening act of Daughtry, and then few of Bon Jovi, but she gave up on that. So, but hey, that's family.
That's family.
That's family. Have we seen any movies lately that really focus on family?
I know that I think we both saw the very anticipated prequel to The Sopranos, The Many Saints of Newark.
Many Saints of Newark. The Many Saints of Newark. Can I tell you, I thought that was the oddest title. I really did. I thought it was before I saw the movie, I thought it was the oddest title.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Why isn't it just called Sopranos? Or Young Tony? I remember thinking and then they, this. Okay, first off, we did not say spoilers.
Oh yeah,
right?
super
spoilers. We will probably,
it.
So Shanna's in the boat of not having seen an episode of Sopranos, but she watched the movie. But she watched the movie with me, and I will talk more about that later in terms of how it fares. I think both Ryan and I will speak to this. How it fares as just a standalone movie, so spoilers, and and unfortunately, those spoilers that affect both the movie and the series, because you can't talk about them without discussing this movie. So you've been warned. And if anyone joins us in the middle of it, sorry, spoilers. The Many Saints of Newark. What an interesting title. And then they literally started going hey, I'm Christopher Moltisanti. And I'm looking at it, and because my lady friend's hard of hearing, we have to watch everything with subtitles. And I'm looking at it, Moltisanti. Means many saints. Moltisanti. Moltisanti, many saints. I was like, come on, it's the Moltisanti. Oh. So, and again, it's Moltisantes. If you watch the movie, you're going to hear Moltisante. You're going to hear it said 10 different ways, but the way that the Italians say it is the correct way. They say
they're
Moltisante.
Listening right now, like Richard. We thought it through. I know you thought they just said it, but
right. But I was just hysterical. I was like, "Oh, Many Saints of Newark. Okay, makes sense now." So, all right. So, what'd you think, Ryan?
So, I think that. I don't know. Okay, so I think that I'm in the group of where people thought that this was actually going to be a Tony Soprano sequel with his son, what's his name? Michael Gandolfini. I'm sorry. So James Gandolfini's son, Michael Gandolfini, taking over the role of Anthony Soprano. And I think we thought we were going to see more about Anthony Soprano, right?
100% correct. 100%.
Yeah. The kid was, doing the interviews. The poster says something like where Tony began or where young Anthony began. The trailer was all him. So, I mean, that doesn't really affect how I thought about the movie, but I just thought I felt like I was roped in. I felt like we all were roped in, that it wasn't going to be so Moltisanti based, that it was going to be much more about Anthony, which we know had a very colorful childhood. He's in therapy because of it, which is pretty much the foundation for the show. But that was just, one thing I was thinking about. But overall, I just felt like it was a little disorganized. I'll go into detail after I summarize. A little disorganized. I was very excited when they started off with with what's his real name? Christopher Moltisanti. What's his name? I can't think of it. Michael.
I can't think of his name. Michael
Imperioli.
Imperioli.
Michael Imperioli. I was like, cool. So we're gonna do the traditional mobster movie. Somebody's doing the voiceover the entire time, telling the story, and we just got bits and pieces of that, right? So,
yeah, very Ray Liotta-ish from Goodfellas, and we get a lot of Ray Liotta in this movie too. So
yeah, you get a lot of Ray Liotta. So that, and one of the things I love most about The Sopranos that I didn't realize until just recently, as 30-something-year-old guy, is that it's much more of a comedy, that there's very dark humor, that there's a lot of reasons to laugh, that even after they kill somebody, there's some sort of humor that follows. And it's this very loose vibe, even though people are, getting ripped off, people are getting killed, there's violence going on, but you never feel like it's just a very relaxed vibe, because then the next thing, Corrado's getting mad that his sandwich got messed up. So it would go from crazy mobster to being normal. And I felt like that whole aspect was missed in the movie. I felt like this was a serious mobster movie. So I'm torn on that as well. And maybe I just expected too much, or expected to go that route, and I need to see it as its own movie. But that was one of the issues I had.
No, and I think to pile on that, that's the negative to the movie, is that I don't think it's a standalone movie. I think when I talk in a few minutes about all the positives, they're very much, because Shanna was next to me watching it, and I'd be like, oh, you would love that if you had seen it. Oh, my goodness, you got to understand how amazing that is happening, But just as a stand, I don't want to say it was horrible, but it was so disjointed. It was so did you want it to be 4 episodes and then you just decide to make a movie? Did you, are you definitely leaving room open? Because John Barenthal, of course, we know as Shane from Walking Dead, or the Punisher from The Punisher. He's Tony Soprano's father, but he's very, very small role, and has no. And again, there's nothing, other than he's kind of a Jo. They don't do a lot with him. It's definitely focusing on Dickie Moltisanti, Christopher's father, and Tony's relationship. Then there is Leslie Odom from Hamilton, Aaron Burr from Hamilton, who plays a gangster, from Newark, an African-American gangster. And that story felt kind of like there was so much more to it. There was so much more to it. And then it was just kind of, at some points I remember thinking is this going to be like a 4-hour movie? Because, so I guess they just made the decision to just kind of throw these out there. But you absolutely have another movie that deals more with the Leslie Odom character, that deals with John Barenthal as Tony Soprano's father. Corey Stoll as Junior Soprano was great.
Love Corey Stoll.
Let's just do it right now, because I always say I'll get to it and I forget. The casting was phenomenal. All right, throw away how lucky you got that Michael Gandolfini can act. It wasn't just stunt casting; he can act. Yeah, I thought.
Right, sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
And again, it's funny. He played his father. He sounded like his father. So Michael Gandolfini was great. But that was just, you hit that home run. Everybody else was perfect. And honestly, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was going to get to that one eventually. Monica said, pointless character, return of weight. Yeah, I thought he was going to give him that there's money hidden somewhere.
I will talk more about that. I read up about David Chase has told us about that. So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about Sally Moltisanti in a minute. So it's very interesting. So so Janice, Tony's sister, who comes back to The Sopranos, she's a mess. It's just, she's a mess. We see that, she's alluded to as a little bit of her, but they freaking cast a 6-year-old and a 14-year-old that look just like the actress who plays Janice. If you told me those are her kids, it would not shock me. The role of Tony Soprano's mom, while it didn't look quite like the person, because it's about 40 years before The Sopranos, acted she's such, because Shannon and I, we immediately put on the pilot episode of The Sopranos, and the mom comes on and Shannon's like, oh my God, that's the same woman. And again, growing up in an Italian household, if that's not my aunts and all of my 70-year-old aunts and my mother, they're Tony Soprano's mom, and
You're talking through your hat.
yeah, right, exactly. That's exactly it. Just beyond perfect. And then again, like Big P and Silvio and the other one, like it's like, oh my goodness, that's them. That's him with his hair. He doesn't want to get his jacket messed up. That's still, like little what's his little Stevie's character Silvio. Like it's like, yeah, no, they're all spot on. Like that's them. They did a phenomenal job. So yeah, I love that part of it. The little callbacks, the little like jokes and stuff.
I can't even do it. He did the.
Oh yeah, no, you're kind of doing it, but yeah, he did that. Like he did that perfectly. Yeah, right. Exactly what he did. It was amazing, that part of it. But as a story, like we're not going to spend an hour talking about. Right. It's true.
Is that true?
It's 100% true. It's like legit. I don't think my mom listens, but. We did a little because we knew it was Ryan's birthday and Shanna's birthday is tomorrow, but we're going somewhere special for Shanna's birthday. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's either a 33-story building or a 49-story building.
Let's just say that you're going to get the W with this.
Right. Let's just say we're going to get the W if we pull this off, and also going to AEW wrestling afterwards. So it's going to be a W kind of night. Yes, I also think Jewish moms and Italian moms are often put in that same ballpark. So we're doing dinner tonight. I text my mom like, hey, 5:00. I said 5:00. I say, but like Shanna's family always runs late. All right. So, take your time. The response, if you don't want us to come, just say so. like, huh? Where? And I was like, where in that did you get? Where from? Hey, dinner's at 5:00, but Shanna always runs late, so take your time. Did you get? If you don't want us to come, just say so. Like, fair enough. Fair enough. So we are really excited, but it is just was not a great movie. Like, it was just not a great movie.
It wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
And it hurts to say it, right? Because we were expecting so much more, and like I also really wanted to feel. I didn't feel like anybody was trying to overthrow anybody, which you always hear that was a big thing between Moltisanti, Soprano, April, right? It was always like the struggle, and it just felt like there was none of that. I was hoping
I got very little because I was worried. Oh, am I going to remember some of these names?
Yeah,
like and stuff, because again, it's the DeMeo crime family out of New York that the Moltisantis and Sopranos work for. But like the DeMeo crime family didn't really come up at all, if I recall, in the movie. And again, you didn't really see a power struggle because the issues that the Moltisantis had between themselves was very much about a lady. And then that same lady made some mistakes. She made some mistakes. She was a little too honest. She was a little too honest, and it did not work out.
You're better left unsaid.
Yeah, right. Literally, Shanna's yelling at the screen. Stop talking. You don't need to tell him. You just saw the background of the ocean. You're like, this is not going to work out for you, kid. This man killed his father, and blamed it on the riots of Newark.
But I will say I was very pleased with the Dickie Moltisanti character. One of the reasons is because when you hear about Dickie, which if you know Christopher, he loves to say, "Oh, my dad was Dickie Moltisanti." You kind of felt like you were hearing about who Alessandro Nivola played, right?
Right.
Because Christopher was not his dad. His dad was strong, powerful, a good leader, all these other things. Not that Christopher wasn't. Christopher had his issues. But I was pleased with the way the character I had always imagined and heard about got incarnated, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And if I could say this for a second, please say the actor's name again. Alessandro.
Did I get Alessandro Nivola, it looks like.
I think so. If you look at his IMDb, you recognize him from a few things, but there's nothing like like he has no like breakthrough huge roles, but I think this is, so again, they gave it to someone, again, a very, very seasoned. It's funny because the thing I most recognize him from was Face Off from like 1997. So I'm like, all right. I was like, that's crazy because he looks totally different. Honestly, when I went to look up his name, I really thought I was going to see an actor who I knew way better. But I think that this role we'll get him more role. Like we'll hook him up. I think
Yeah.
everything about the movie, I'm going to try to be succinct, and I can hear people laughing behind me. The acting was excellent. You know, the different
100%.
parts of it, but it's just, I went in the movie thinking I was watching a Tony Soprano origin movie, and it wasn't that. You know, and again, hey, again, they gave us plenty of him being an idiot. And again, it's really well done when you've seen the whole show, because you're like, oh, Tony and his own son. And when his own son tried to act like Tony did when he was his age, so really well done and all those things. But it was like little parts. It was like they gave us not enough of Tony. They gave us not enough of Dickie. It's just, they were like, Dickie's talking about, oh, my wife can't have a kid. And then 2 scenes later, she's walking down the stairs with Christopher.
None of it made sense.
Right.
Like,
I will address Monica. Sorry. I'll address Monica's pointless character, Return of Ray, as the twin.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I'm sitting there. Spoilers. Hollywood Dick Moltisanti is played by Ray Liotta. Total scumbag, abusive to his new Italian wife. Just, not a great guy. Dickie gets angry, kills him. He's dead. And then we see a scene where Dickie is going to a prison. And there we see Ray Liotta again, looking a little more ghosty, a little more gray. And this is his uncle, Sally Moltisanti. And my mind's just going like, wait, was Sally Moltisanti in the show? Like, am I just blanking on this?
No, me too. There was stuff like that all the time.
It's like, what's happening with this? So I did happen to read an article about this with David Chase. That may have all been Dickie just imagining that. Like, he created it in his head. They're not, it may, all right. Because do you remember the scene where he shows him teaching the blind kids to play baseball?
Yeah.
And it's done kind of dreamlike because it's a memory. And then when he's finished, there's nobody sitting there. Like, so they don't know if they don't think Sally Moltisanti is an actual, or he's not like, that was just, that's the thing. It may, and again, it's David Chase and Sopranos and endings. He kind of makes it kind of like, yeah, it could be that that's all imagined. So I thought that was interesting. So Sally may not actually have been a real person, Sally Moltisanti.
I didn't get that whole story, and that's actually where kind of everything started to feel diluted, right? And I felt like maybe they tried. Well, I always wonder about this. Like, did you try to make it so relaxed, or is your writing so good that you know how to make everyone feel so relaxed, if that makes sense? And I also, like, what I'm getting at is, I think one of the awesome things about mafia movies, all of them, like I said, is there is that humor. There's humor thrown in there, obvious humor, like throw your head back funny, like you still tell the joke to the day with your friends funny. I just didn't get any of that type of humor or life from the movie, if that makes sense, that you get from The Sopranos that you still say to this day. I didn't get any of that. Like, nothing memorable, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, no, it was. Like you said, it was a little more serious. I think maybe they were trying a little bit with some of the Tony storyline, but again, I think we were watching Tony through the lens of knowing the show, so we're like, this is tragic, oh, he's thinking he might play college football, like, and again, where I'm not talking enough about Junior, Corey Stoll's performance as Junior,
Gerardo,
who just like, just again, if you've watched The Sopranos, Junior is just a bitter, angry old man because again, his nephew Tony is the boss, is the godfather of North Jersey, and but again, Junior's
don't come at all.
Yeah, Junior's a little bit stubborn. I mean, Junior's a little bit incompetent, can't quite pull it off. And this is the biggest reveal to come out of the movie. The biggest kind of spoiler thing is, Dickie Moltisanti dies, and all through The Sopranos, Christopher, is always wondering who killed his dad, and I think I read it because I actually have not watched Sopranos in a while, but kind of rewinding it, like, oh right, so they blamed it on some cop, some retired. That's
what I was just about to say. It was a retired cop.
Christopher has to go and like kill the retired cop, and the cop denies it. you know, and then again, it's the series never addresses it. Like it's just, it's, yeah, anybody who's almost going to be killed is going to deny it. So that's, they got the cop. It turns out that Junior was the person behind the killing of Dickie Moltisanti, and again, Christopher never finds that out. And this is the new big kind of like, did Tony know? Did Tony ever know? And nothing about the movie, and that's the thing, nothing about the movie we watch would even begin to hint that Tony should have a clue. Tony's busy stealing Mr. Softy trucks, and
And I think if they make the sequel or books or whatever, however they do it, they will show that reveal, because I think, can we all agree that Tony and Junior never trusted one another from the start, from the get? And maybe that's because Tony, we find out, knew like never to turn his back on Junior because of what he did to Dickie Moltisanti. That's maybe a theory, but like I said, I don't remember that if they ever clarified that in the series.
Right. And I am a huge fan of not trying to give us a 3-hour movie that gives us way too much. And I often, did you guys have something to say about the Mr. Softy truck?
Yeah, Mr. Softy loves to come every summer at 7:45. Jade's bath is at 7:25, and he loves to screw with us.
Right. So we're gonna have to hit a Mr. Softy truck next summer.
We're gonna have to take it out.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's I keep saying maybe it will work better if it was like Mare of Easttown was a 6-episode miniseries, but should it have been a 6-episode miniseries like that, or should we just know, hey, we're going to have 3 movies again? Maybe the movie ends with Dick. Like that's the thing. You could stretch out to where the movie ends with Hollywood Dick Knight. Like you could really have gotten 3 or 4 movies out of the content. So, were you
disappointed at all with the tone? Like I watched The Sopranos to laugh. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, sure.
Or are you okay with it being?
You know what? It's funny. Now,
Star Wars spinoff, if you will. You know how like they change up the like Rogue One was darker and then something's lighter.
No, I'm okay with it, and but again, I'm probably a good 12 years removed from my last, but. Watch the movie. Yeah, we're always very repetitive to our listeners. Watch the movie, immediately turn on the show, and the show is much funnier. Again, like right, Shannon, like you laughed more at the half an hour you stayed awake of the show, because Meadows got her attitude, Tony's got the ducks in the backyard. Like it's a great, like one of the opening scenes is Christopher and him chase down this like doctor owes them money, it is a much funnier, like it was a much funnier tone there. So I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but but again, Shannon and I don't watch a lot of shows because she falls asleep, and I'm not upset with her for falling asleep after she watched the whole movie and then half an hour of the pilot episode. But and she knew where Lorraine Bracco was from.
Oh, like Goodfellas.
Yeah, she knew.
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
See, you're not. She's old. She knew her from a movie called The Medicine Man with Sean Connery. So she's old. She's not young. Do you know who has a birthday today? What famous person has a birthday today?
No, not without cheating.
Do you know Guy Pearce from Mare of Easttown?
And Kate Winslet. They
both have a birthday. Kate Winslet and Guy Pearce both have October 5th birthdays.
I was going to text you that and say coincidence, and then the answer is it probably is just a coincidence.
I remember seeing something like they had Wawa or something together. They had a birthday cake together last year when they were filming Mare of Easttown.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So again, I'm mentioning Mare of Easttown again and tying it into Ryan's birthday because, I would have been happy if Many Saints of Newark had been like a month event. Over the next 4 Sundays, we're going to see all about the life of Dickie Moltisanti and the people who shaped Tony Soprano's life, and set against the backdrop of the Newark race riots in the 60s. Like that's a movie to itself. And again, they played into it. They didn't shy away from the Italians being really crappy racists, and which is what they were. It was not a. And again, I think that if I can't remember her name now, Giuseppa. If she had slept with just another guy, but because she had slept with an African
Oh,
American.
by the way, that didn't tie in either. That was a wasted.
Yeah, well, right.
I mean,
Again,
just to get her killed, fine, but there was no more depth.
right. There was no again, like, and it really And I apologize, Leslie Odom, that I'm not remembering your character's name, because they say it and they prominently say it because they're like, we got to catch. But you didn't learn anything about his character because he had a wife and a kid, and he seemed like he was a caring and suddenly he's interested in this, I guess attractive Italian lady. I don't know. I don't know I know what I know one lady who's attractive and that's it.
So
and her birthday's tomorrow.
Birthday? Oh, you checked it already? So I
Yeah.
guess, like, I don't know. Were we expecting more and we didn't get it? Do we feel like we're owed? I don't know. I like, it hasn't done any damage to the series, has it? Like, it explains.
No, it is not done any damage. The only, and again with my limited, what I'm seeing, people hated the baby Christopher cried around Tony scene, and then the old Italian woman goes, "They say that the babies know what happens from the other side." Like, all right. Yeah, all right. We know that Tony's going to kill Christopher. Like, it's literally the opening of the movie, and then having Christopher cry around, and that's the thing. Like, we do this a lot when we talk about things. Like, I wish it had been a little different, but they did so many things good with the acting and a lot of it and the writing. Because like they really showed how Tony was kind of put upon by his family. Like, his family was like. What knocked him a lot, and they did a great job of showing how they treated Janice. I do not remember Tony's younger sister from the series at all.
So the episode that she was in, because actually I forgot for a second, and then I was like, oh, because I was like, I don't remember Tony saying like, oh, my dad had a daughter with somebody else. So she showed up at a Sunday dinner episode, which is actually the episode that made the you never had the makings of a varsity athlete line famous.
Oh wow! Okay.
Like throughout the episode, he keeps saying it, Corrado, and then finally at dinner, Tony goes, "Oh, what the fuck? I get it. I didn't have because like you said, like the family always was like, oh, Tony this, Tony that. You won't be anything. You're gonna be fat, like And his mom, as we know, is a psychopath.
Shoot.
And he never got over it. Tony never ever got over any of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen. What the movie accomplished was a tribute to a lot of the characters. It makes me want to rewatch the series.
Yep, right away.
So I mean, that's some positives. It just, yeah. I mean, my grade for it right now is like a B because some of the stuff was so positive. But the only way it becomes a bigger grade is if the next movie kind of makes you go, okay, I see what they were building towards. But it's like any prequel, you're handcuffed by. By what, you can't create these new characters and do these new things. Because again, I don't remember Leslie Odom's character in the movie. In the TV show rather, the impact of him.
The first thought I had was two episodes. The one where, remember the city council guy when
I do that you're saying this now, yeah.
When Tony wanted to buy the real estate and the city council guy went to the youth group and got them to shoot up the homeless people who were living inside the real estate that Tony had just bought.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, was that him? And I missed it, but I was like, no, that wouldn't make sense. And there was a few other characters, but for some reason he was the one that stood out.
Yeah, and I think another thing that when I would be hopeful that some of these characters were like, I was like, it's a solid 30 years before the beginning of The Sopranos. The end of this movie, like the early 70s to 1999. Whereas that was a little kick in the pants. The very opening of Sopranos, like he's driving in 2000, and you see the Twin Towers in the background. You're like, oh, they'd only get one more year of that shot. But that iconic woke up this morning by Alabama 3, which I never knew it was by Alabama 3. I just thought it was so I was like, okay, Alabama 3.
When that little drum kicked in, or the little, I was like, oh, here we go.
Well, and again, and so Sopranos is polarizing, beyond famous for their end of their series, which, really, we're not spoiling anything. The family's just sitting down for dinner at a diner. They put Don't Stop Believing on the jukebox, and the screen just goes black. And that's how it ends. We don't know. we don't know if Tony dies, and I'm sorry, I should have also said it appears that different like shady looking people are coming out of different cars, and it looks like you think it's going to end with him getting shot, but it just fades to black. The movie didn't quite fade to black, but it just kind of ended. Like they just kind of
like I was actually thinking to myself, like, what is the next plot point for Dickie? Because I don't know where this is going. And then sure enough, he gets capped while he's oh wait, what does the story go? He was coming home with Christmas toys for
he was coming home with Christmas toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it Christmas?
It was Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Or it was around Christmas because Tony was going to meet him at the diner because imaginary Sally or real Sally told him to stay away. So, but he was going to try to make up with Tony, and then he gets shot, and a very debilitating Junior. I don't like Corey Stoll already because he's Yellow Jacket in the Ant-Man movie, but
I was thinking that.
He's
also Michael Price, the villain on Billions currently.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. He's versatile as hell though.
I gotta watch some Billions or Succession. So I think I get Billions and Succession. Billions is Paul Giamatti.
Yes, and he's fabulous in it.
Okay.
Freaking amazing.
I'll be honest, I did not realize Billions had that many seasons.
Nobody does. You either love it or you've just never heard of it.
Or you've just never heard of it, right?
Yeah, there's no I hate it.
You either love it so much you name your child after the main character, or so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a kid and just name him after some obscure character from a TV show. So
yeah. So on that note, for me, I don't know. Like I give Speed 2 like a B+. I think I got to give this a C+.
I'm sorry. You gave Speed 2?
Yeah,
like
a
B+.
My
all right,
rating can be out of rack.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. Yeah, listen, I'm teaching a lesson this week in the library about how to act properly. Your digital footprint and what you do online and how it stays there. And it's funny because without saying the zip code Facebook page, I talk a lot about hey, there's some weird stuff on the internet where you could put a picture of your dog up and be like, hey, everybody, check out this dog my family just got. And people could comment, why'd you get a dog from that place? Or why'd you get that breed? And so it's, and so what I always say is listen, you're entitled to your opinion. No one should tear you down, so yeah, you're entitled. Speed 2's B+ though. I mean, that might be, but again, what's wrong with the movie? A boat just goes into the middle of a city. That's all. That's all that happens in Speed 2. So spoilers, Speed 2 spoilers. So
we definitely got to talk about Speed 1 at our Keanu podcast.
Yeah, when we do our Keanu podcast, because we got to get our Speed 2 out of our system. So whoever had Speed 2 on their bingo card, congratulations, you win the entire game. So
stop! I'm gonna die.
On your birthday would be awkward as anything.
That'd be cool on a tombstone.
Yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool on a tombstone if it's October 5th to October 5th.
No. And then it goes viral, and then it's psych.
Yeah,
he was alive.
Right. He was just busy making memes. That's what he did. His wife was putting the kids to bed, and he was making memes. That's how he went. So. Yeah, no, but again, that's literally and we should have talked about this beforehand. We should have just had the podcast just fade to black and just.
I know, right there,
just end. But we spent too much money on outro music and outro announcing, so.
Our day will come, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, see it. For many reasons. If you saw The Sopranos, you'll get some things. If you didn't, then you'll watch it, and then you'll want to go watch the show, and you'll know some things. Definitely not a miss. Definitely there's lots of reasons to watch it.
And I will say, if you're listening to us and you haven't seen it, and you're like, yeah, but I heard him say a million things. A, you won't remember what we said.
Yeah.
And B, the acting and the characterization is what really pulls the movies through. But yeah, if you've seen Sopranos, definitely check out the Many Saints of Newark. Streaming live on HBO Max or at your local movie theater.
Choose wisely.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. So that's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. 9:00 on the money. I'm 33 years old. Richard is staying at a luxurious hotel, the best hotel in Philadelphia, tomorrow with Shanna for her birthday. So lots of good things to come. And we'll check back with y'all about next week. Until then, take care.
Good night, everyone.